Welcome back to Micro Revolutions, a space to embrace our flow and challenge the status quo. Together we will explore women's health on and off the mat, honoring each step of your journey. And welcome to this pelvic floor class where we will be working on relaxing and strengthening the pelvic floor muscles. I love the saying, if you don't use it, you lose it. But it's also the other way around. If you overuse it, you also lose it. So that's why before we can strengthen anything, we have to bring relaxation first. This is also very important in having a healthy menstruation. So when you're ready, let's get into it. And we start by bringing awareness into the pelvic floor muscles. So I invite you to come and lay on your back with your knees bent and your feet hip-width apart and your arms by your side. And breathe softly through your belly. This is also called diaphragmic breathing. So notice that when you breathe in, the diaphragm moves down, and so does the pelvic floor diaphragm. And when you breathe out, the diaphragm and pelvic floor diaphragm both move up. You feel a slight downward pressure when you inhale and a lifting of the pelvic floor when you exhale, and this is very subtle. And that is why we contract our pelvic floor on our exhales, because there's more space to contract the muscles. So now you can practice engaging and releasing the pelvic floor muscles using the breath. So we're going to do as follows. We slowly breathe in. And when you exhale all the way out, on the bottom of the exhale, we're going to engage the muscles of the pelvic floor, as if you're holding your pee. So, breathe in, and breathe completely out. And on the bottom of your exhale, hold for 1, 2, 3, 4, and inhale, release, and relax the muscles. And let's do that a couple more times. Exhaling all the air out. And on the bottom of the exhale, squeeze, hold your pee. 1, 2, 3, 4, and inhale, relax. Also your face, a slight smile is allowed. And continue a few times on your own. And make sure you don't fire up your glutes and you don't contract your core. You only use your pelvic floor muscles. And now, on your next few breaths, you can place a prop in between your knees. And we will do the same. Instead, now we will also squeeze the block and lift the pelvic floor muscles by again squeezing and imagine pulling them up. So it's a squeeze and pull motion, only coming from your pelvic floor. Now, this might take some practice, and practice makes perfect. So if you struggle, get back to this practice a couple times a week. And when you're ready, let's start. Inhaling, exhaling all the way out. And at the bottom, contract and lift. 2, 3, 4, and release. Again, inhaling and exhaling all the way, and contract and lift. 2, 3, 4, and release. 2 more times. Inhaling, exhaling all the way out, and contract and lift. 2, 3, 4, and release. Last time, inhaling And exhaling all the way. And contract and lift. 2, 3, 4, and release. Now let's connect to our core a bit more with some pelvic tilts, creating a bit of heat to prepare for our other exercises later. So as you inhale, gently arch your lower back, letting your pelvis tilt forward, feeling a gentle lift in the belly. And on your exhale, press your lower back into the mat, gently tilting your pelvis towards you. Engaging your core muscle with each tilt, creating awareness in your lower abdomen. So inhale, arch. And exhale, tilt. Press your lower back into the mat. Inhale, arch. Exhale, tilt. Contract your core muscles. Keep breathing, keep relaxing your face. And inhale, arch. And continue for a few breaths on your own, connecting breath and movement. Yes, very well done. And next we will move into a happy baby. And make sure your back stays completely on the mat. Don't let your tailbone lift from the mat. I see this so often done wrong. So grab wherever you can, make sure your lower back stays on the mat. If this is your feet on the outside, that's great. But this can also be your ankles or even your thighs. So pull your knees towards your armpits, your chest is open, and the back of your neck is flat. Bringing your focus to your pelvic floor and focus on relaxing the muscles here. And do this as best as you can today. Focus on deep and slow inhales and exhales. And you can sway a little bit from side to side if you feel a bit playful today. And take a few more breaths. Yeah, well done. Relax your legs down, maybe give them a little shake. And then bring the soles of your feet together for butterfly pose. This stretch opens the hips and the pelvis, gently releasing tension in the pelvic floor. Again, continue to focus on deep belly breathing. Maybe placing your hands on your hip bones, and instead of focusing on breathing into your belly alone, try to breathe towards your hip bones. It's almost if you are breathing into your lower back and then to the sides to make this movement happen. So you should extend your back a bit into the floor. And this can be tricky at first, so again it will take some practice and it will come with some practice. So keep giving it a few more tries, breathing into your hands. And breathe out, relax. Breathing in into your lower belly and pelvic area. And breathe out. And now let's come into a yogic squat malasana. So your feet can be hip width or wider, your toes point outward. And as you come down, you press your elbows into your knees. Your tailbone is pointing down and the crown of your head is reaching up. Your shoulders are away from your ears. And if your heels can't reach, roll your mats or place a towel or something else under, so you can firmly press your heels into the mats and they are grounded. Gaze at the point in front of you to keep the neck long. And again, Breathe deeply into the pelvic area. And a deep squat can help stretch and lengthen the pelvic floor muscles. Holding for a few more breaths. Great. And from here, on your next inhale, step your left leg back for a low lunge, keeping your spine and neck long, and rocking a bit forward and back, left to right, really getting into the hips and the joint here. Keep connecting to the breath, maybe release a sigh if that comes up. Don't hold back. And taking a few more deep breaths, either in stillness or keep making little micro movements. And then bring your awareness in your core, hugging your navel towards your spine, and step your left leg back into a plank. Take a deep breath in and out. And on your next inhale, step your right leg forward, bringing again movements into the pose. And this hip opening also helps releasing pelvic stiffness in the lower back and hips. And if any emotions surface, know that this is very normal and try to breathe with it. Don't resist it. Keep breathing. Try not to get attached to old stories. Simply observe and breathe, release, and hold space with your breath. Take a few more of those. And again, bracing your core and step back into a plank pose. And from here, bring your awareness into your hands, firmly pressing them into the floor, and then lifting your hips up towards the ceiling for a down dog. And if your heels don't touch the floor, keep them bent like I do, focusing on a long spine by pressing your hip bones towards the sky. And from here, we are going to ripple forward as a wave. So again, bringing focus to our core and starting the movement from our feet, lifting our heels. Let the ripple move through our legs, our lower spine, middle spine, upper spine, and your neck until you are in a plank. Holding here for a breath. And then on your exhale, ripple the same way back, upper spine, middle spine, lower spine, lifting your heels and bringing them down. And let's do that 4 more times, embodying water. So breathing in as you ripple forward. Holding the plank. And then your next out breath, ripple back. And then continue 2 more times on your own. Amazing. And our next pose will be a chair pose. So from down dog, walk your feet towards your hands and stand straight with your feet less than shoulder width apart. Stretch your arms over your head in line with your ears and creating an external rotation by bringing the triceps in. And now bring the weight into your heels and gently bend your knees. Push your pelvis down and pulling your tailbone slightly under and hug your inner thighs together while drawing your belly button in. And then take deep breaths and hold still. Gaze slightly down in front of you to keep the neck long. Sit straight and keep breathing. And relax, falling forward, taking a few breaths. Maybe sway from side to side. And let's repeat, coming into a chair. And I like to imagine my heels are really rooting down into the earth, and as if someone is pulling me up from my hands, creating the contradiction. And keep hugging your inner thighs together and breathing slow and deep, focusing on your pelvic area. Feel the heat, feel the fire. And then folds. Let your head hang heavy, maybe holding on to opposite elbows for a few breaths. And let's do one more round, coming into chair, and ponder on this quote for your last round. The pelvis is the home of creativity and life force. When it's open and free, it releases your potential to move and create with ease. So take a few more breaths to that. And great job. Fold forward with a slight bend in your knees, one by one, to release any tension in the legs. And then make your way into a child's pose. Big toes to touch. Sitting on your heels and walking your hands forward to connect inward. Child's pose is also a great pose to relax the pelvic floor muscles. And maybe from here it's easier to breathe low into the pelvic area and feeling the back expand like a frog. Taking a few moments, connecting to your pelvic area. Deep belly breaths, breathing to the sides as diaphragmic breathing. And on your next breath in, slowly roll up, swinging your legs in front of you for some spine leg lifts. So with your back on the mat, bring your both legs into a tabletop position with your knees directly over your hips. Engaging the core by pressing the lower back into the mat. And it's very important to keep your breath relaxed and make it not forced. And if lifting the legs is too much, you can do it with your knees bent and just tap your feet on the floor like this. Never push beyond your body's limits, as it will always backfire at some point. And trust me, I know this from own experience. So on an inhale, slowly lower your right foot toward the ground, either keeping your knee bent or straight, and hover it just above the floor. And then exhale, bring it back to tabletop, alternating your legs, inhaling as you lower and exhaling as you lift. and move slowly, maintaining control and steady engagement in your core, keeping your back pressing into the mat. Feel free to place your hands on your abdomen to deepen the connection, and continue for 20 more seconds in your own pace, inhaling down and exhaling up. And keep your face relaxed, your neck long. Keep a connection to your core. And great job. Now place your feet flat on the mats, hip width or wider apart with your toes slightly pointing outward, and your arms are resting alongside your body. Preparing for some bridge lifts. So on an inhale, press into your feet, specifically your heels, and lift your hips into a bridge. Keep your core engaged, imagining your belly button pulling in and up. Hold for a breath or two. And then exhale, slowly lowering your spine one vertebra at a time. Again, repeating this for a few rounds, keeping a steady breath and mindful core activation throughout each lift and release. So breathe in, lift up, and hold for a few breaths. And breathe out, lower down, vertebra by vertebra. And on your next in-breath, you lift up again, pressing into your heels, keeping the connection in your core, shining your heart. And breathe out, lower down, and continue 2 more times on your own. And on your next exhale, return to laying on your back, hugging your knees into your chest, and then gently drop them to the right side for a twist. Extend your arms out wide, and you can bring your hand to your lower belly if that feels right for you today. Breathing into your hands, feeling this connection. And then switch to the other side when you're ready. Again, the option to place a hand over your belly, sending some love and compassion to this space. And then return to center and stretch out in Shavasana, taking a few moments to relax and let go, letting your pelvis be heavy, releasing fully into the support of the earth, feeling maybe warmth or a light expanding in your pelvic area, bringing a sense of balance and openness. And with each exhale, sink deeper into relaxation, allowing healing energy to radiate throughout your body. Subscribe, it's the best way to support me. Share with a friend, leave a like, and let's connect in the comments. I'd love to hear from you. And of course, there's always the invitation to stay longer in Shavasana. But if you want to come out, With your eyes closed, make your way into a seated position, enjoying the feeling of connection to this energy center, supporting creative flow and inner stability. And let's flow with love and peace. Namaste.